fine, 'cause it's Q&A time again. Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome to another live, Friday Night Live. Let me flip you guys over. Get you guys settled in down here into this little drawer. Oh, there we go. There we go. Hello, 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 and welcome to another Friday Night Live Q&A. Let's pan this down this way a little bit, get more tanks in there. Eventually we'll get more fish in the background, but at least we got lots of tanks. But hello, hello, and welcome to another Friday Night Live, where you can ask your aquarium keeping questions, whether it has to do with plants, fish, shrimp, whether you're starting, whether you've been into it a long time. We got aquarium keeping 101, 201, 301, 401 master's degree here. So if you need questions and help, I'm your man. And if I don't know, because there is like so many ways and so many fish in the aquarium hobby, if I don't know about them, we've got an amazing community here that knows a lot about them. So I actually learned something really very interesting last night. And so Outside and Aquatics, thank you for telling me that. It says video is looking crisp. So that's what I'm about to talk about. So this is kind of interesting because I was on TikTok last night and went live for the first time because I went over 1,000 subs on there and it allowed me to go live. And there's this guy called the Canadian Fish Guy on TikTok, and he kind of motivated me to get to 1,000 on there because I wasn't really doing much on TikTok. And like everything I do is mostly here on YouTube for you guys. And so I got on there, and the live was so crispy clean the whole time. I went into the belly of the beast of this fish room. I was walking around, I was showing tanks, I was showing stuff inside of it. Granted, it was during when the lights were off, but I was able to walk through there on TikTok. So it got me wondering why I haven't been able to do that here on YouTube. If I could do it on TikTok, what's up, YouTube? Why do you give me such troubles with these live stream qualities? I don't understand it, but glad to hear that it's looking good right now. And Lady Diane, Diamond member, thank you for the continued support. Says, woohoo, another Q&A. Happy Friday. Well, always great to see you in here, Lady Diane. Definitely always makes the Friday when you're around, reminding people to hit those question marks on the end of their question or around their question. That way I'll read it, because that's how I really scan through everything that is being said. I try to speed read as much as I can. Thank God I know how to do that. And if you guys don't know anything about speed reading, it is something you can train yourself to do. You only want to do it for like maybe 30 minutes a day, because it is hard on your eyes and strain. But when you learn how to speed read, you could also read rooms, environments, and all kinds of things. It's actually a really good skill to have. But there is programs out there if you look into it. Just saying, it's helped me a lot, so who knows, it may help you. Mario Valesco says, how did you convince your wife to let you have a whole house for your fish? So, it was kind of easy, to be honest. I never convinced her, and I just kind of did it. I just did it. There was no like, hey, can I get some more tanks? Or, hey, what do you think? You know, I was making my own money, you know. What's to say about that? You can't really tell me. Like, I mean, we got space. Granted, there was some agreements and communications on certain things, and then she started seeing where it was going, and now she just trusts in that I know what I'm doing. That, and she's kind of, I think she really enjoys it now too. It really grew up on her, so that helps a lot. But it didn't really take a whole lot of convincing. I mean, I did hear a couple times where I'd mention it and be like, I don't think you need more tanks. You don't need more tanks. I did hear that a couple times. I was like, yeah, what does she know, you know? At the time, you know. She's got her own mindset. I got my own mindset, and I just went for it. balls to the wall, because if they don't love you and if they're going to leave you for something like that, well, see ya. I mean, it's a good test to really test love, I guess. If you got the balls, if you got the balls. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to need to get into live chat. I've been bad about staying in top chat lately. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Glad to see y'all in here. That's good. WTF 1A says, don't ever use China's spyware app. It logs into everything and more. That's hilarious. Dude, China has his hand just as much into YouTube and other platforms and companies and land and everything else. Don't even get me started on that. And if you actually look into who really owns TikTok, it's a different ballgame. There's a different reason why they want to ban TikTok. It's because people share real time, like what's going on around the scenes. It's an easy platform for people to go live or to throw postings of what's happening around the country, and people get linked into it because the algorithm throws it right into their face. WTF 1A, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate that. It says, was curious if you knew anything about this bacteria, Candida Factor. I don't know anything about that bacteria, but with the word Candida, I don't know if that has any kind of fungal type of bacteria feeding to that name. You could usually figure out a lot about bacteria and how they name it through the actual name and the Latin basis towards it, like a Cumulibacter. That's probably like a fungus eating accumulated bacteria or some stuff like that. But I appreciate the support. I appreciate the $5 super chat. Thank you for that. WTF 1A again says, that's true, but why give our enemy more ammo? I don't really have any enemies unless they're like coming directly towards me. I would defend myself. But there's a lot of different ways to go about it, and that's the least of the information, privacy, and things to worry about with TikTok. Lars K, holy moly, Lars K, I appreciate that big old $16 super chat, brother. Thank you so much for the awesome support again. And as always, I hope it's going good for you, brother. And always good to see you. All right, scroll. It's a Phosphate Eater from what I've read, but don't know how to put it in my tank. Oh, I don't know. You'd have to do a lot of Google and even source like a certain bacteria. Can you just get that bacteria for your tank that eats phosphates? I know with like pond companies, they keep certain bacterias within their bottles that they use to eat up biosludge and stuff like that that actually target specific bacteria. Maybe that's a direction you can look towards into maybe getting some kind of culture. But even a lot of those cultures, in my opinion, they usually sit on the shelf for way too long, and who knows how active they truly are. Oh, Brandy Rutledge, what is this? Is Alex okay? Fishery channel. I hope he is getting better. I don't know. I didn't hear anything, but I'll have to look into it. I hope he's all right. He's a good guy. He has done a lot for this community. Chris Swanson says, moving my 125 tomorrow for the first time, only moving across town. Any tips? So your 125, you're definitely gonna get that everything and the substrate out of 125, because those things are just heavy as they are. Even with that, like a 10 gallon, maybe a 20 gallon if you're strong. And I mean, you probably do more, but with the substrate. But I would definitely empty it all the way. I would save a bucket full of your substrate, but keep it dirty. Don't clean your substrate. So all that substrate, if you have it in your 125, I mean, some guys don't keep substrate. I don't, but anyways, keep that substrate. Do not clean it. You're going to want to put that back into that tank. So you're going to want to move the tank empty, move the substrate in buckets, dump it in there, boom, call that a night. And I would put some water in it, like maybe a quarter of the way or halfway, put water in there, see how it does. And then maybe wait till the next day or 2 or 3 after you get more of your moving stuff settled, and put more water in it. And then you'll have a nice cycled aquarium. Now, if you're using a filter, I mean, you can go ahead and put the substrate in there and the dirty filter. Do not clean the filter, because what's going to happen is you're going to have to add 100. It's like doing 100% water change plus more, because you're really breaking up the bioactive substrate that's going on in your aquarium that helps actually take care of a lot of certain things. So, which I could rattle off a bunch, but let me just say it's taking care of things like waste and whatnot. So you want to be able to cycle that water back to being biologically sound as quick as possible. And by doing half water in it with just the substrate, say if you have no filter, you allow that beneficial bacteria within that substrate to take over that volume of water quicker than it could as if you would fill it all the way up. That's why I'd even recommend down to it just being a quarter of it. That way you can just get nice and saturated, spread real good, and get real good connectivity between the bacteria bioload and the aquarium. And then that would allow you to have that biologically sound water a lot quicker. And as far as your fish, put them in the bucket, and they would do all right with half water. I mean, having a 125-gallon fish tank, I don't know how many fish and what kind of fish, but I'm sure they won't mind just a little low water for a day or two, if need be. But shoot, I'd have that set up like that day, at least with a little bit of water in it. It's not too hard. It just takes a bit of work pulling everything out. Your fishy indulgence says he's in the hospital there in Florida. What? I'll have to hit him up here after this live stream and see what's going on. I was actually going to go to TikTok after this live stream and see what happens and do like a test run with you guys. So if you guys are on TikTok, I was going to do a little test run at the end and see if we can go. Like, so at the end of this live stream, we'll see if we can get into the fish room and actually move around without it getting like too terrible. And then I want to do a test run in TikTok after this and see how that works. Because it's kind of crazy how the quality was so much better on that platform compared to this one. Kingfisher's Catch says, LRB, what's the best fish talk you've been to? I would actually say a Fishery. Alexander Williamson of Fishery has given probably some of my favorite fish talks, I would say. Because they're always so interesting, because he breaks down like all this history and stuff that connects to things that you may have never heard of or even known. I mean, there's a lot of like good species one and collecting ones. Like, they're good in their own regards, but as far as like always like keeping me more enthralled into the whole story, because after a while you see so many species, you're like, oh, I've seen that. A lot of guys have ones where you're like, oh, whoa, didn't see that. But Fish Story does a really good talk. And mine's like probably the best. But I could be biased. No, I'll have to Definitely get a hold of him and see what's going on. I haven't heard anything. Gary Stein says, will LRB do a Mr. Pleco dance video on TikTok? Probably won't be a whole lot of dance videos. I don't know about those. I don't think I'll be doing a whole lot of that. You never know, though. You got to expect the unexpected here. Oh, he's getting more dental work done. Yeah, I knew he had been doing work on his teeth, so that's probably what. And I know that the people who are doing that work is down here in Florida. So that's probably what's going on. Scroll. Bravehearts 1986 says, hey LRB, I have 2 angelfish who seem to be aggressive towards each other lately. Any advice? I have 5 angelfish in total in a 32-gallon Fluval Flex planted tank. Thanks. So it's really hard to tell what starts half of these tiffs and emotional behaviors that happen within our fish sometimes, where some just get aggressive, or maybe one wrong the other in one way, or maybe it's the sex ratio of the fish and they're battling over a girl, and maybe there's not enough girls in the group, and maybe too many guys, or vice versa. And then so they'll battle that way. So it's always good to try to keep those balanced. You can check your male to female ratio and see how that's sitting. And you could either add or subtract to that. I prefer to add. And that would be the first thing I would do, but they're also a cichlid, so cichlids tend to have hierarchies within their social behaviors. So there could be alpha beta just fighting, and maybe what I would say is, as long as they're not like really damaging each other, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Now, if you were seeing damage to them, then maybe you want to split them up and put them in a timeout tank or a timeout bucket, or just be like, hey, see who the aggressor is and be like, hey, you're going to just be in timeout for a little while, and then try adding them back later, and then see how that works out. And if he just continues to do it, I mean, it's really up to you what you want to do with him. Maybe see if you can get some store credit, and or maybe try to turn him into a breeder with another tank. There's all kinds of ways about it. All kinds of ways. Well, I hope that helps you out some. At least gives you some ideas and directions to go towards. Joe MTL says, hi Lucas, you made a comment on a live stream that fish are okay from 68 to 74. I don't use a heater in the winter, and I heat my place at 68. Is this okay for fish like bettas and chili rasboras? For a long period of time, I would say no. It's not. Like, maybe for like a few days, it'd be okay, but no. They need that on their cool side. They really should not drop underneath that. Really under 72 for a long time. That's why mid 70s are just, it's the sweet spot for keeping anything. Let's see. Oh, Brandy, thank you so much, Brandy Rutledge, for the $10 super chat. I appreciate that, Brandy. Very nice of you. Says, want to go to Aqua in Daytona, but hotel is expensive. Do you know others close to the convention but cheaper? I know we stayed in somewhere last time. I can't remember what the hotel is. But I don't know. I haven't looked at hotels yet. I still gotta look for a hotel myself. So if you end up finding something good, let me know, because I still gotta go down that rabbit hole. But that would be awesome if you made it to the show. That'd be awesome. I think I'm gonna play Plant-A-Claw Aqua Daytona. Oh, I will be a judge for the shrimp contest as well, so that'll be fun and exciting. And the cool thing about it, the great thing about this Aquashella, so all the Aquashellas I've ever been to, I was in a booth, and this time I'm gonna be free ranging it, so that's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna have a lot of fun just being able to just float around and really talk to you guys, and not have to worry about this, that, and the other. Eric Bell says, do you suggest using your eggshell method for feeding a nearite snail? So you could actually, yeah, that. I would suggest that. That's actually probably a better method to use, that eggshell method, opposed to adding hardness to your aquarium. There's so many better ways to add hardness. But as far as like giving your nearites or your snails something to snack on, and or even shrimp, a little eggshell can go a long way. Is there a certain shrimp that thrive in higher pH? My well water runs right at 8. Thanks, King. So the neocardinas, that's what you're going to want. Those thrive in that hard water. They love that stuff. Absolutely love it. Jeff Kane, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Says, LRB, when you get a chance, look at Fish Stories community page. It explains his trip to the ICU better than we could in chat. Oh, dang. ICU, I mean, that's serious business. I appreciate the support, Jeff, as always, and for letting me know that. I will definitely have to go check that out. That ain't cool. Well, all my thoughts and prayers go out to him. He's an amazing guy. I know he'll pull through it. He's a strong dude. He's got a spirit like no other. Very, very strong spirited. Outside and Aquatic says, I'm being gifted 4 Venezuelan Cories tomorrow morning. Any tips on care breeding? Cold water changes definitely trigger their breeding. As far as care, mid 70s, lower 80s, even those could go down to 68. Those would be all right at 68. Pretty easy. I mean, whatever food you want to get them. They're scavengers. They'll eat pretty much anything. Leaf litter is always good. A little bit of moss for them to breed into. Do Japanese trapdoor snails hibernate? I'm not really sure, Greg. I'm not really sure. If anybody knows about Japanese trapdoor snails, which I really don't know nothing but that name that you just mentioned of them, so I could not tell you. Let's see. Scrolling. Hot tub, pool, fire pit, can't wait. Dang, that all sounds great. I can't wait to build all that here at the house, or even be around any of that. That sounds like something I need in my life. King's Fisher Catch says, how are the maculosus doing? Waiting on myself so I can get them into Canada. That would be awesome. Yeah, get them up north. Get them up north. I love Marcel. I was actually just talking to Marcel earlier today about rainbow fish. Which brings me to a point. Now, I bred a bunch of Goldie-eyed Akai and has sold a bunch of them out there, but unfortunately, the way that YouTube algorithm does is, I don't know if I really reach a lot of that audience from when I did do that, but if you have them out there and you're breeding them and you have some of them, please reach out. Because there's so many fish out there within this hobby that just needs conservation. And the maculosus, as that guy was mentioning, is a rainbow fish that needs just that. But I've got quite a few smaller ones and younger ones. Still got a breeding group and many females and another breeding group growing up. So they're, what should I say? They're saved back fairly well. And with them, and since I've got that fry rack now, I'll be organizing hopefully some of that soon. I did shoot a fish room tour video this week as well. So I'll be coming out with a fish room tour video of everything. I went through it all. And I did it in a pretty timely manner, considering there's about 300 tanks in here. And I'm not going to have it out this week, but hopefully next week I'll have it out, because just edit time and download time is going to take me a week to manage that in between doing my plumbing stuff and staying on schedule with everything else of life. But that is done, so now that that is done, I can move a lot of the fish that are in the fish room into that fry rack, which is going to organize the opportunity to conserve and get more of that stuff out. Lori Petrovsky says, how's your cats? So the cats are all doing great. Love my kitties. They're silly. So Kitty always comes down here knocking on the door whenever she's out, and then wants to be led back home. And lately her daughters have been following her, and it's just been a train of cats down the trail. It's been quite funny. We still got 4 of them. Henry Figueroa says, how are the aquariums in the yard? Any frogs in the aquarium yet? So I catch frogs in this fish room quite often. I've actually got this right here for such occasions, because it's often enough that I need a frog cup to go hunt them and catch them down here. But as far as outside, everything's been good. And actually in this week's members video, I'll be doing a full update on the outdoor aquariums. And plus I got an awesome idea of what and how I'm going to do what I want to do with those aquariums here in the future too. And also, websites fully stocked. I got to mention this because if you guys haven't ordered yet, it could definitely be helpful, as always, because I'm trying to get this plumbing done. But my neighbor's got this excavator for a little while, and I'm trying to rent that thing for a day, because if I get just a couple scoops with that excavator, oh my God, and some liners. I still got to get some liners. I could do a lot with a little. So LRVAquatics.com. We got the 10% off as well going on. Code word plumbing. And all you guys who have ordered and supported, thank you so much. Has slowed down recently though. I think a lot of people, the recession and stuff, but right now is the weather to get it too. Will German blue rams peck at mystery snail tentacles? Yes, definitely they will. And can. Because they'll just constantly hunt and wait for anything. And if it's wormy looking, you know that German blue ram's going for it. Lori Petrovsky says, can rice fish live with goldfish? If, as long as the goldfish can't fit the rice fish in their mouth, then yes. Rice fish are fast enough and can get away and stay towards the top. They should do all right. Oh, sorry to hear that kingfisher's catch. Went from 100 to 5 degrees, lost his stuff in his ponds. Yeah, you guys got to watch that weather now. The fall might start changing up for you if you got those outdoor tubs. Let's see. Unholy Orders 82 says, is it okay for my cat to take a couple of sips from the tank? Yeah, definitely. Actually, my cats have lived off of... We've got this one cat. Actually, the cat that drinks the most aquarium water is the oldest one, and she looks really good for her age. She's actually really sprightly for her age, too. Can't believe how well she handles herself. It's amazing. Lori Petrovsky says, have you put your extra plants in any of your ponds? No, 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 not outside. No. Uh-uh. I'm not mixing anything within here to out there just because I don't want things to like travel. It's too wild out there. Way too wild. Sonny Gordon says, have you tried that food that Aqua Pros makes? Yeah, the legit food. Yeah, it really is legit. It really is legit. I've actually got legit here with me in my it's next to my tetracolor tropical granules. He gave me a bunch, so I feed it to him, and my fish love it. I was trying to get him to actually make a granule the size of the tetracolor tropical granules, because if he did or could get one that size, then shoot, I was like, I'd back that. Because I mean, it's a lot leaner. It doesn't have like all the fillers like a lot of food does. So it's kind of like the organic type of food for fish food. Mikey8379 says, do you still have, oh God, why you gotta ask me that? Why do you still have your dog? Or do you still have your dog? Dude. So that dog's been gone for quite some time now. We don't know where he is. Hopefully he's with some family. I knew this was gonna happen where I couldn't make videos and not show the dog, because the dog was gonna be around me all the time. So it's like, I can't just like kick the dog out, like, get out of here, dog, I'm making videos, you know? And then, we're out here in the country. That dog was a free spirit too. So technically he wasn't ours, but we were taking care of him, and he ran around, and there's these kids that came up to the pond and lived over next door, and then they ended up moving, and then around that time the dogs went moving. We don't know where the hell they went. But that's not the first time that dog went missing. There was one time we had to pick him up from town, and another story I heard about him coming out of some truck from this bar that's up the road. So that dog was always on adventures, so who knows. I just hope the best for him. And he was awesome. He gave me all kinds of energy. I loved him. Wesley wasn't a big fan of him, which is my boy, just because kind of too big of a dog for him. Just knock him over. But yeah, I know I'm probably going to get asked that for like freaking ever now, for at least probably a year or two. And it's not like I can't just like not answer that question, especially after reading it. DPK Fish Aquarium says, hi Lucas, what are some good shrimp safe fish that you tried keeping with shrimp with no issues? So the little rasboras are good. Some of the tetras, like cardinal tetras, will do pretty good. It really depends on the size of your shrimp, as well as if you're trying to get numbers out of your shrimp. It's a whole different story compared to what you can keep with them. I actually have shrimp into I've had shrimp in a 180-gallon bowl front with Synodontis lace cats. That big, that chunky, and tons of rainbows, Cory cats, all kinds of stuff within that 180-gallon, and like 1,000 shrimp. So it all kind of depends on how you set it up as well, and what size. Having a rock pile definitely helps. So I've got shrimp still living with my axolotls right now because they have a rock pile to go hide in. And that makes a big, big, big difference with being able to do that. And if you don't want to do all that, just look into the nano fish that have really small mouths that aren't as related to piranhas like a lot of the tetras are. Even though a lot of them won't, but some can be kind of picky and hunters. Let's see. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Oh, that turned off already? We had our power go off this week as well at some point. And now I'm not sure about how these go off. So I didn't even really want to do the TikTok live with the lights off. That would have sucked. All right, not seeing any questions. I'm at the bottom of the chat. It's been a slow week or slow live stream. We haven't even broken 100 people in here. I swear my live streams are dying every week. I don't know what's up. I don't know if I like pissed everybody off or what. But I appreciate all you guys that are here. But it just seems like these live streams, just the amount of people that come into them, it's just less and less and less. Sarah Adam Aquatic says, hi, what would be a good killifish book you would recommend? Ed Warner's killifish book. So Google Ed Warner killifish book. That would be the #1 I would recommend. Spec V Turbo says, hey Lucas, I was thinking about making rock piles out of lava rock for my fry to hide in. Do you think that would be good for guppies? So no, I would not use lava rock for guppies or fish. The only thing I would use lava rock for would be for shrimp. That stuff is way too sharp. And even if they're just grazing around it and or gets chased into it and then they cut themselves, they can actually cause a lot of problems, open wounds, get secondary infections, and then you'll be like, oh, what's wrong with my tank? I think that's fucking, oh, excuse my language. I think it's like columnaris or some weird disease, you know? And then you start treating it with all the meds, and then everything, like, you start having potentially, but yeah, it can just lead down a path that can be troublesome. So yeah, it's better to use some smooth rocks. I was hoping to keep bluefin killies with shrimp. So actually, when it comes to killies and shrimp, if there's any killie that you'll get away with keeping with shrimp, it would be the bluefin killies. So you're actually got a really good chance, and I have kept them together before, so you should be good. Kingfisher's Catch says, what do you see as a threat to the hobby? Then on the flip side, what's a point of strength? So the big threat on the hobby, I would say right now, let's see. I would say the lack of connection to what's really going on for a lot of people towards what's going on in the hobby. So for instance, like I mentioned fish that need conservation all the time, and how there's just really not enough people who are breeding and keeping a lot of these strains of fish that can end up coming to a point to where you only have commercialized fish because the ability to get these fish from these areas is becoming less and less. And this is especially for rainbow fish and killifish. And I'm sure, I mean, just like in Brazil, like there's some catfish and corridors and stuff like that as well. But I see that becoming a problem. Then then on the flip side, what's the point of strength for the strengths that I see in this hobby? I see that there's a lot of creators now, and I think that's a really, really strong way to get a lot of the messaging out. But it at least leads to a road to maybe those few who will go down this rabbit hole of the conserving those type of fish, like getting into killifish breeding, getting into rainbow fish breeding, and really understanding nature and getting like really deep and connected to it. So I think that the outlet and channels for that, but so many are blinded by the glitz and the glamour of aquarium keeping opposed to the ecosystems of aquarium keeping. And there's so many ways to do it, and you can mix match that as much as you want to. And yeah, I would like to see more embrace the natural stuff, and I know it's still kind of a new frontier for a lot of people. Like still what I'm doing here in this aquarium with these aquariums is a new frontier for a lot of testing of a lot of what a lot of people say, like Father Fish says, Not completely, quite differently, because there's so many variables within it. When you keep hundreds and hundreds of tanks, it's different than somebody who's kept like 12 tanks or 50 tanks, and especially in just ways that it's been done mainstreamed and things. So um, I think there's a lot of strength in us as a collective conscious figuring out all the many ways to keep aquariums and work with nature more than against nature, and to make it easier, because a lot of reasons why people don't want to keep aquariums or they quit keeping aquariums is because it became a pain in the ass, and people have enough pains these days, they don't want another one. So if you can make it easy and enjoyable, I mean, I was able to make this fish room and make it enjoyable and like manage it all by myself. Like, I don't have somebody coming in here sneaking around doing water changes, obviously, or picking algae. You can tell by the maintenance, but um, I've learned a lot of this just from keeping aquariums outdoors as well, which teach you a lot. All right, let me keep moving here. Fish Stream says, have you ever tried a 1 micron sock with a pump for never-ending bacterial bloom? I have not. So what'll happen with a filter or if a pump or even a micron sock, that will help with the bacterial bloom, because what'll happen is it'll collect up the beneficial bacteria that will consume the white stuff within the bacterial bloom. So the dirtier your canister filter and or pump and its ability to hold on to that brown beneficial bacteria, that moldy stuff, then the better it can clean and eat up that bacterial bloom. Oh, there's a live stream from the Clash going on this moment at LRB. Well, that's cool. Who's doing that? Bravehearts 1986 says, hey LRB, I want to replace my canister filter with the sponge filter in my 75-gallon tank. Any advice about the process? My question would be, why do you want a sponge filter over a canister filter? I would say if you've already got the canister filter for the 75-gallon, why not use it? And just don't worry about cleaning it like ever. That would be my opinion. But if you really wanted that sponge filter for some reason, because a canister filter is the same as a sponge filter, the only difference is the sponge is connected into a canister. And the water doesn't flow through a airstone sponge filter as well as a canister. You actually get better flow from a canister filter, which can allow you to overstock like crazy. But if you wanted to transition, you could just transition. Just take the canister filter off and put the sponge filter in. I'd actually, if you can put the sponge filter in for a while the canister filter's running, even better, because it can help seed the sponge filter for you. Well, thank you, Brandy. I appreciate that. I do got a big sale on Blue Dream Shrimp. Thank you, Henry, for noticing that. Besides some root tabs, what else to keep my Amazon sword healthy? They are planted in aqua soil that gravel for cherries. So, water changes, just stay on a consistent water change, because that aeration helps with those big leaves and it'll catch on to it. Do you like that, DPK? Yeah, it's not often I would let that many go flying. Usually I'm much more well reserved about it. I guess it was the moment. I don't know. Not often like I feel like those words have to come out of me. But I won't lie. Wesley cusses like a sailor sometimes, and he be rubbing off on me. Brandy Rutledge says, sometimes my guppies get skinny and wasting. Maricin, good to use. So no, what I would use, excuse me, is General Cure for skinny and wasting disease. Let's see. What shrimp do I keep? I've got the tangerine tigers, yellow King Kongs, crystal red, crystal black, fancy red tigers, fancy black tigers, red neos, yellow neos, blue dream neos. Which my neo lines, those are what has made me really popular because they're insane. I have worked so hard on those lines and have lined them for such a long time, and nobody does it like me when it comes to those neos. As far as those three colors, the red, blues, and the yellows, I have been working on some greens and oranges, but they're they're not up to standard standard to be offering at any time soon. I do got some blue jellies as well, which I'm still working on that line a little bit before I offer any of those. DPK Fish Aquarium says, I agree. Getting a rare fish is getting harder and not enough encouragement of keeping fish for conservation. I 100% agree. And it actually is becoming a scary kind of graft in my mind mentally when I see the age of a lot of these breeders opposed to any upcoming new breeders. That is like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, or I'm keeping this, I'm keeping that. And in my opinion, that's the strongest thing about this aquarium keeping hobby and strongest defense for it even being a thing that we should do is for the fact of the conservation of these fish. Because you never know when they're going to destroy an ecosystem with whatever, train derailment, war, mine, farm, who knows. Sonny Gordon says, what is the best way to get Dojo loaches to spawn? I tried filterless, but the tub kept crashing and had to move them into a filtered system. So if you have to move them into a filter system, just make sure it's not going to catch up the babies if they did happen to spawn. But as far as loaches go, there's not a whole lot of information out there on how to breed them. I personally could not tell you how to breed Dojo loaches, and I don't have a whole lot of... I'm still trying to crack the code on Dojo loaches, or on loaches, period. Dojos aren't ones I'm working on, but when in doubt, rock piles, rock piles, rock piles, because I feel as if most fish eventually they're going to breed somewhere, usually at some point within their lifespan. And if there's rock piles for those young to go hide off into that the parents can't predate, the odds of getting babies out of them is pretty a lot more bigger. And I think with loaches, they actually prefer like a carved out log or maybe a tube or PVC underneath. I have seen in a book with pygmy chain loaches where they had the PVC tunnels or something like that. I would personally try to do it out of wood opposed to PVC tunnel and then put that over like a rock pile or something. What's the website? lrbaquatics.com. I should promote that more too. I used to start like all my videos off with Oh, for those who have been around for a long time, you guys know what I'm talking about. Those good old days. I should probably do that. It just seemed after a while, after I did it so many times, I was like, all right, I gotta change it up. I like to change things up. Keeps things lively for me. Spec V Turbo says, I recently got some Red Devil tetras. What would you say is the best method of breeding them is I can't find much online. So the red devil tetras, I'm not sure exactly um, what type of tetras those are, but in my opinion, if you have seen on how I do my CPDs with the scattering box, with the mesh basket that floats, that would probably be one of the best method of breeding them. That's how a lot of the big farms breed out tetras, is they'll put them in these mesh baskets, they'll float them into a bigger tank, and then they'll get eggs all over the bottom, and then the babies will just grow up from there. It makes it easy because then you can just move that around. And or if you didn't want to go through all that, rock piles, dark, lots of dark. You want to keep it dark for a while. Feed them, maybe separate them, the males and the females, for a couple days. Feed them heavy on some live food, then plop them together over a rock pile with a little bit of moss that hardly ever gets light for a day or two. Excuse me, and then pull them out. And then wait for babies. Josh Hayden says, any interest in Goodeids? Started 2 colonies of 2 species in the last 2 months, and they are fascinating. Amica splendids are like little bass. They are. I absolutely love the Amica splendens. And some of them look like little trout, little bass. There's all kinds of different little cool looking Goodeids. The tequila one's really cool too. That's a pretty colorful one. Probably the most colorful one in my opinion as far as the Goodeids. I unfortunately do not have enough space for Goodeids, and they're also another fish that needs conservation as well. But I can't keep them all. I mean, I could put up 300 tanks, but I could barely even scratch the surface with even conserving what I can. And I'm just trying to conserve some of my favorites here in the future, and trying to source some of them has been a real issue. But I love Goodeids. That's another live too. So if any of you guys have gotten into like breeding guppies and stuff like that, look into the Goodeids, because they're the same kind of like live fish. If you want something easy to breed but something different and cool to keep, and that'll always demand a market because ability. Well, thank you, Fishing Outdoors with Lando. I appreciate that. Yeah, those blue Neos are legit. I didn't call it the world's straightest line for no reason. Like, that line had been worked. Get all the mutations out. Rich Anthony says, hey, Lucas, perhaps fast-tracking, strengthening your Wi-Fi network there would help boost live numbers again. The info is great, but I think a lot of people want to see these tanks up close. Thoughts? So, yes, exactly. I agree 100%. So, what I just found out last night with TikTok was I was able to go around my fish room with good vision, good everything. It was crazy. I was literally all up in the tanks. I went all the way to the opposite corner of this fish barn. Full clarity. But here on YouTube, I think I'm throttled down. I don't know what the heck's going on. But, and I know sometimes being out in the country, it's kind of hit and miss. And I'm still gonna test that theory a little bit more here with TikTok and see what happens. But, yeah. Boosting my Wi-Fi network, we have tried multiple things, and it is a bit tricky, and I don't have a whole lot of money to throw into that either, because unfortunately I'm not made of money, and I'm literally for each dollar just to work on these projects. Let's see. Scroll. Scrolling. Please, if you're shipping fish and you're using breather bags, please allow some time to be sure the bag doesn't leak. My bags were defective. Oh no. Sorry to hear, Lady Diane. But yeah, always good to double check. Actually had one time where I had bags come overnight, and I saw this little bug beetle thing like traveling around over by the bags, and I'm like, that little thing better not like bite into one of my bags. And sure enough, next morning, get up, he done bit into a couple of them. Like, you little rascal. And popped a couple of my bags. A tiny little beetle. Miss Kitty says, what is the ingredient and general cure that makes it effective for wasting disease? Please and thank you. That's a good question. I would have to like look at the back of a canister of it. Actually don't have any of it in here. I do have a container in the house, in my quarantine house, but not in here. I wish I could tell you right now, but I can't. Sorry, Miss Kitty. Watch it be like diatomaceous earth or something. TPK Fish Aquarium says, hey Lucas, have you ever used a safety sorb for substrate? I'm trying, so far it's working. Only downside is a heavy rinsing but amazing mix with aqua soil and sand, but not sure in the long run. So I've never used it. No. I can't even picture what safety sorb is. But I know a lot of people will use that turfus for like that clay-based stuff is really good. Shady Grady, hi Lucas, how do I tell a male mascara barb from a female, and what is the optimal number of them for a breeding group? I have 5 presently, thanks. So Shady, honestly, it's kind of rough. I think the females are slightly less colorful and then a little more plumper. Sometimes it's really hard to tell. Honestly, I do not even know the own ratio to my barbs. I kind of just let them do their things and hope that there's some females and males in there. I think as long as you've got, let's see, you have 5 presently. I would say even if you had like 3 males and 2 females, you'll be all right. And or anything above that is always better. Always better with more females. But it is hard to tell besides just size and color. And then there's kind of an alpha beta, like when their colors are turned on opposed to when their colors aren't turned on. And then if they're juvenile size, then it's really hard to tell because they all look the same in my opinion. So I don't have a whole full thing. Man, I'm really gonna have to turn the lights back. Feels like it's super late now. All right, well, we are close to the hour mark. I'm going to get up here and turn these lights back on, and I'm going to take you guys with me, and we're going to see how deep into the belly of this that I can get into without it going bad. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, Fishcapades, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate that, Fishcapades, with the keep it up. Thank you. The motivation and support definitely helps keep my spirits and motivation up for this. Because it is a lot of work to do this. And plus, I literally put everything I make into this. One day, hopefully, all the fruits of my labor will pay off. But right now, it's just been grind for quite some time. All right, let's flip you guys over. Let's turn on some light. All right, 1 to 10, how would you rate the quality of this video? As far as video quality, before I get too far in here. Come on, let's see some numbers, y'all. 1 to 10, 1 to 10. No, nobody? Now see, I can't help if y'all don't help. 1 out of 10. Is this good quality? 8, a 5, fishy indulgent, 5, 8. I love the eyeballs. Yeah, I thought that would be fun. They actually light up too. 360p, 4, 7. Okay, see, this is telling me things. 10? Dang, Witowski's got 10. I don't know what kind of internet you got, but I wish everybody else was getting 10s. 3, 4, 8. Okay, that's good. That's good. I gotta get this ladder. So this is quite a view. I'll be surprised if we don't get kicked off here. But before I hop off real quick, Look at this from the top. Just tanks on tanks on tanks. Crazy. I love that view today. When I saw it, I was like, man, this is neat. Not every day I get that high up. Oh, and you want to see how much space is up here on these plants too? Or for these plants too now? Down to a 5. So many more space for plants. 2, 2, 2. Yeah, see, that's not good. 2s aren't good. But y'all can hear me. So on TikTok, this was crispy clear. It was like a 10. So we're gonna go on to TikTok after this. I'm turning the lights back on. So if you guys do TikTok, any of you, I know not all of you do, but if I can get, boom, that's how I do that. If I can get some of you guys to come on to TikTok, and we're gonna do a test out there and see how well we can get things to work. Let's pop this one on. Yeah, I was able to just move around everywhere. Do all kinds of stuff. I was doing a little tour of the pond. Because I would love to move around here and just carry you guys around like we did in the old days. That's the funnest. So maybe some of us on TikTok can get together and do this. If I get stuck on or been plugged in 87 days on TikTok. If this was on YouTube, I'm surprised. Actually, I'm surprised we haven't been kicked off yet. Usually we're kicked off right about now. But thank you all. So how's the quality now? Can I get some more numbers as we're coming back up here? It's 0. Oof, sunny. That's a rough one. Is the aluminum causing it the same issue? 1. What is the tick link? So a 1. TikTok is LRB Aquatics. You'll find me on there. 2, 3, 2, 3. Yeah, see, these are terrible. These are terrible. All right, well, I appreciate you all struggling through this crappy, like, visuals that we get here. I don't know why YouTube does this to me, but we're about to find out. I'm gonna hop off here. Thank you all so much for the support. See some of you guys on TikTok, hopefully. We'll see how things work on there. And, dude, if we can get just any kind of platform that lets me live around here, be beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But I appreciate you guys. Till next time, peace. Have a great one. Fish, feed me fish. One day I want to get like hands. This is gonna be his mouth. It's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna have fun with it. But anyways, peace.